Okay, so I'm going to start my vlogs on the topic of stepping out of your comfort zone, because that pretty much just summarizes what this whole move out to Toronto has been for me. I didn't have some dramatic reason forcing me to leave London. I was actually very comfortable there, but that was sort of the issue, is that I could just see that I wasn't really growing. And I knew that I needed to do something quite drastic, basically so that I would just stop making excuses for why I wasn't living out the life that I wanted and actually start making the necessary steps towards it. And for me, these steps started off as very tiny little baby steps. So first I applied for my visa for Canada, then I accepted it, and yeah, next thing you know, I'm stood at Toronto International Airport with like 1,001 suitcases. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that all it takes is for you to just make that first initial step of bravery, no matter how small, and then the universe will just kind of guide you the rest of the way. It's like, we just need to let the universe know that we mean business, and we need to open that gate so that all these amazing gifts of life can just flow to us. So much of the time though, we cut off this flow of abundance from the universe because of our own ego, that self-deprecating voice that tells us that, you know, we couldn't possibly do that, or we're not enough to do that. And when that happens to you, you literally just have to tell that voice to shut the fuck up. Because normally I'm all for feeling and allowing your emotions, but that's because they're an expression of your truth. But when it comes to ego, that voice is fed by fear, which therefore isn't your truth and therefore doesn't serve you in any way. You know, when I think about my experience with coming out here, there were so many times before this trip that my ego voice would come in and say, you know, why would you move to Toronto? You don't even know anyone out there. You have no family there. What if something bad happens? Blah, blah, blah. But I knew that going to Toronto meant following my intuition and my gut and my heart. And staying in London would have been me being a hostage to my ego. And I'd say the easiest way to know when you're following your heart instead of your ego is just by following what makes you happy. I know that sounds super cheesy, but you just have to follow what makes you truly alive, because really, what's the point in even being alive if you're not going to be truly alive? I think it was Norman Cousins that said it best when he said, "The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside us while we live." Mic drop moment.